Hello everybody, welcome back to Sparkle Web. So in this video I'm going to show us we're going to build a student management system using Django from the back end and using HTML and CSS. So this is just a demo project we're going to build. So this is the front page, okay, the home page. We have student enrollment where we have the button to add student, and we also have the button to view to see all the information about this student, and also to go back. We can update, we can submit and cancel. We can also go ahead and delete this student, let's say, and delete is off. So we have a button of to add. So let's go ahead and add students using this model. I'll say favor Basi, sex female, date of birth, let's use 210 February 24th, class, let's give her SS1, parent name, let's say Basi Okun, and phone number, you can say +234704568, like that. So we can go ahead and submit. So as you can see, we have successfully added one of the student records. Now if you look at this table, we have 3 columns: name, sex, and class. But if we go ahead to this view, it's going to take us to a detailed page. If you look at our URLs, you see /detail, and this is number 7. All right, so the name is Favor Basi, sex female, date of birth, class, parent's name, parent phone number. But when you go to the home page, we only have Favor Basi as name, sex, and class. You can as well, if I don't want to have this class SS1 and I want to change the date, I can go to update. I can change this Favor Basi to Favor Okon, and I can change the sex is still female. I can change the date of birth from 2010 to something like 2003 February 19th, and we say SS3, and now we go ahead and submit it. As you can see, we have Favor Okon SS3. We can view, we can see we have new date of birth, new class, and that is how we can do. Okay, so this video we are going to build this student management information. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. See you in our main tutorial. Hello, welcome to Django crash course. My name is George Okunamat. I'll be your course instructor for this Django project. So if you're joining this channel for the first time, please do well to show some like by subscribing and also sharing this video to as many persons that also want to learn Django. So in this Django course, we are going to look at what Django is all about, and at the end we are going to build student management system with CRUD operation. CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. And our course goal is to learn Django by doing. Alright, so let's go ahead. So what is Django? Django is a high-level Python web framework. It is used for website development or software development. And Django follows MVT, which stands for Model View Template Pattern. And it comes with ORM, routing and authentication building. Now ORM stands for Object Relational Mapper. It is used for building or communicating with databases, okay, like SQLite, Postgres, and MySQL as well. So but we are not using SQL syntax, but we're using Python language to communicate and interact with our database. That is why it is called Object Relational Mapper. All right, so Django architecture, MVT pattern, as I earlier said. MVT stands for model. Model is defines the data structure. Every database has a data, and the data has a structure. Like the tables, you need to define your tables and define your rows. Okay, so that is all what we are looking at when we talk about defines data structure. So now view stands for process. View is a process of data and logic, processes data and logic. Okay, in view, it is where we write all our logic, all our codes to execute. Now template displays the data to users. Then it follows with request, URL, view, model, template, and response. Now let's dive into the practical aspect of this course, how to install Django. We are going to use pip install Django. We are going to create our project using Django admin start project, and we'll give it a name, student management, and we are going to run server. So without any further ado, let's look at how we can. All right, so I'm in my VS Code. So I'm using VS Code for this tutorial. You can feel free to use PyCharm or any other IDE that best suits you, but I would highly recommend you use VS Code to follow alongside this tutorial. All right, so I've already created a folder. All right, I'm going to navigate to the folder I'm going to use. Okay, I'm going to file. I'll go to my folder. I locate my desktop. I've already made this tutorial. I'm going to click on it. All right, so you are not a newbie, so you know how to create your folder and also to launch your VS Code. All right, so with that being said, let's forge ahead. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to open my terminal, because I'm going to be working with my VS Code terminal. You can as well use your command prompt separately, but I prefer using it directly here. Okay, so I'm going to come here and go to terminal and click on new terminal. So I'm going to wait for it to load so that we can install our Django project. Okay, all right, as you can see, it has launched. So what we need to do now is, the first thing I recommend you to do is to check if you are in the right directory. I'll say Python version to check if I'm in the right directory. Okay, so as of when I'm recording this video, I'm using Python 3.13.2, which is the latest version of Python. Okay, I can go ahead and clear it now. See, Python. First of all, you're going to create your virtual environment. Now look at virtual environment as a subset of your storage device. Now we don't want to install Django in our local machine. You know, it might conflict with other installations, so we just want to have virtual environment basically for this project. Okay, so that whatever we do in the future, it will not be affected in our local machine. So virtual environment is just a subset or is a part of your storage device. So for you to be able to create your virtual environment, I'm using Windows. Okay, you can follow this step as well. You see Python space -env for virtual environment. You give it a name, so I'll prefer using env. You go ahead and click on enter. So if you look at here, you see that it has already created our virtual environment. Okay, where we have include, lib, script, and the rest. So but we are going to wait for it to finally load, so it's going to take a while. You know, this process usually takes a while. So while waiting for it to load, for you to take this course, one of the requirements is that you must have a basic Python knowledge. You don't need to be a pro, you just need to know basic syntax to work with, okay, using Python. All right, so since Django is a Python web framework, okay, so our virtual environment was successfully created, and as we can see, it is not yet activated. So we need to activate this visual environment for us to be able to use this visual environment. So for you to activate, follow this command. You call your visual environment name. Mine is env, just as what we have here. You say slash capital letter S for script, okay, slash, and activate on window. You go ahead and click on enter. So as you can see, it's no longer using PSC. We're no longer in our C drive directory. We are now in our virtual environment directory. This env is the name I gave as here. All right, so this is the script that we use to activate. This is the activate button. Okay, so this is just the logic for you to create your visual environment. So now that we are able to create our visual environment, the next thing we need to do is to install Django. To install Django, we say pip install Django. That's all, and click on enter. So it's going to take a while for it to load, for it to create visual environment. As you can see, it is installing Django. So we are going to wait for a while for it to finish the installation process. As you can see, it has finished installing, and Visual Studio is asking us to update our PIP, but I will ignore it for now. Alright, so the next thing we need to do now is for us to go ahead and create our project. Okay, to create our project, this is the command. You said Django admin start project. Okay, so I'm going to say Django -admin start project. Don't space it, just then you space and you give the name. So for us, we want to call it student, and you now say period and click on enter. Student is not valid project name, please make URL. Alright, so we are going to say Django admin start project, let's say CRM. Let's give it a CRM, and we space and we say period. Alright, we click on enter. So as you can see, our CRM projects have been successfully created. So I'll spend some time in this part. Okay, now if you come here, we have this CRM project. Okay, you see this __init_py is telling this project that this is a Python package. Okay, so if you open it, there's nothing in it, so you don't need to do anything inside of here. Now we also have asgi.py. You know, this one is talking about a synchronization gateway interface. Okay, this is basically used for deployment. Okay, so you don't need to do anything here. Now also have setting. This is where we are going to spend time to set our project. Okay, now we have URLs. URLs is where we are going to link all our views and our template. Okay, URL stand for, this is just a process where if you come to, let's say, Google, let me explain what this is all about. You say google.com and you click on enter. Now this is a URL, google.com/search. Okay, this is a URL. This is what URL stands for. All right, so if I click on this website now, okay, so it says script.com/document. So this is what we call URL. So that's what we are going to be defining in this. So that is why we have URLs. Now this WSG stands for website gateway interface. So it's all about for deployment. So for now, you don't need, as a beginner, you don't need to worry about all this. Okay, now manage.py, this is one of the core functions throughout this project. We are going to be using this manage.py. Manage.py helps us to call functions, help us to run the server, and do many other things which you are going to see in this course as we go ahead. So now we have been able to successfully created our Django project. So we need now to launch this project to see if it has already been or successfully been created. You now say Python manage.py. Like I said, we are going to be working very often with this manage.py. Manage.py run server. You click on enter. So it's going to run and give you a URL. Now if you look at it here, it has given us a URL. We are going to be running it on this port, http :// I want to say and port 8000. Just hold your control key and click on it. It's going to open inside our web browser. So you have been successfully installed. Okay, your Django project has been successfully installed. So, and they are giving us a congratulations message here. So if you have gotten to this point, congratulations, you have been able to create your first Django project. All right, so I'm going to open another terminal here so that I can work side by side. All right, so let me go ahead and activate my virtual environment. All right, so I'm working side by side now. I'm having two terminal. This one is to run our server. Now, come a bit. If you look at, let me go up a bit. If you look at this, if you are launching your project for the first time, you're going to have this. You have 18 unapplied migrations. Now, these migrations are default tables that comes with Django project. Okay, so we need to run these migrations. Okay, so for us to do that, let me use this other one. I'll come and say Python manage.py migrate. I click on enter. As you can see, it's migrating, so it's running. Okay, so we have successfully migrated our tables, our default table. Okay, I'm going to stop the server right now. Control C, so that I can launch it again. You see that the error will not be there again. Python manage.py run server. All right, so the error is no longer there, and our Python website is working very well. All right, so congratulations if you have done all of this. Now, the next thing we need to do now is for us to create our app. This is just a root project. This is the project. Okay, we need to create our app. App is like components or different segments of your website. Let's assume you're working building a massive project, okay, that has to do with different interface like authentication and every other aspect of your website. So you can split it into different apps. So it is a very modern way of building your project in using Django. You can as well do everything here. Okay, you can as well do everything here, but I want to give us up-to-date methods on how to work with Django. I know it might seem very confusing for the moment. Okay, I passed through this hell, I looked at Django as very difficult subject matter, but trust me, Django is very easy and is very very interesting. So just follow alongside. You don't need to cram anything. All you need to do is just understand the basics and start building simple projects. Google is your friend. Anywhere you are lost, you can refer to Google, and that's how you learn and you keep mastering all of these concepts. All right, so for us to create our model, our app, you say Python manage.py. Like I say, this manage.py, we are going to be using it every 98% of the times or 100% times we are working with Django. Say Python manage.py, you're going to say start app. You give your app name. I'll give it a student. I'll click on enter. All right, also as you can see, we have, this is a project, the root folder, the root project, the main project. This is the app student. Okay, you can name it anything. I would have said student app so I can differentiate between CRM, which is the folder, the root project, and the app student. Now, if you look at this, why we had to create this app, so that to ease us the pains of importing modules. If you look at CRM, we only have URLs and setting. Okay, but if you come to this app, you see we have admin.py, apps.py, models.py, test.py, views.py. So this is all we need. So one other thing we need here to import, to install the folder we need to create here in this our app is just right click and go to file, just urls.py. That is the only thing you need to do in this your app, and we are good to go. Now, haven't created our app, so we need to link this our app to our main project. You come to your main project, which is a CRM. You open your settings.py. All right, so this settings.py, we are going to set everything we are going to use for this project. Number one, so we are going to, if you look at it, we have install apps. So if whatever we are doing here without installing this app in this our settings.py is not going to work. So you need to first of all register your app. You come and say our app name is student. Okay, That's all we need to do. All right, so we now come down as well where we have these templates. We are going to working with HTML template. Okay, templates help users to see what we want them to see. Okay, helps users to interact with our website. Now here where we have this template, then we have these dirs inside of here. Go ahead and do either single or double quotes and type in templates. So what we are doing here, we are linking our template, which we are going to create in a minute, to our main app. Having done that, you now come down. We are going to be using, look at database here. For now, we are using the default database from Django, SQLite 3, and that's what we have here as db.sqlite 3. You can change this and use your own custom database like Postgres or MongoDB. But for now, we're going to stick with this default database. Now you go down to where we have static file URL. So we want to be able to use CSS in this. Just don't worry, don't cram anything, just understand the basics, just follow the video, just follow the course and start implementing. Like I say, this purpose of this course, the goal is to learn by doing. You don't understand things by just watching tutorials. You understand by implementing what you've learned. Okay, so go ahead and type static files, okay, underscore dirs equals to a list. Now before then we are going to say import. We are going to import os. All right, so we now come here and say os.path.join. You open this and say base underscore dir, comma, single or double quote, and you say static. So we have been able to create our static file. All right, so with this we can implement CSS. All right, we can style our folder or style our website. So this is all we need to do in this settings.py. We go ahead and close it. Now the next thing we need to do in this our main project is you go to your urls.py. Now here you're going to come back here and say path. We want to link our URL from our apps to the main project. You say comma. All right, you now say include. You are going to include, you open your double quote or single quote, and you say student, which is our app name, .url. Okay, as you can see that it's asking us to import. One thing I love about Django is that once you click on this error, it gives you what to do. You can now import, but what I want to do, just come here and say comma include, and that error has gone. Okay, we can as well copy this, okay, and close it. We are done with our root project. Okay, now let's open our app. Let's go to URLs. It's empty. You paste what we just copied. Okay, just paste it here. We don't need this include function anymore, and we don't need this admin. All right, so and we don't need any of this. All right, so now the first thing we need to do now is to say path. Define our own path, which is the home page. You just leave it at this this quote. All right, you now say views dot, we call it home. I say comma, then you give the name of you understand why we are giving the name. Okay, say home. Now as you can see, there's an error here. So for us to fix this, you need to come down here and say from current directory import all the views, and the error has gone. Okay, so this is all you need to do for your urls.py. Now I want you to understand this, that for every view you create, you must have a URL pattern for that. Now let's open our view. Okay, view, we already have an import here from Django.shortcut import render. We are going to also import redirect as well. We are going to also import HTTP. Okay, no, it's not HTTP. All right, so for now we are going to create a home function. We copy this home function in our view. You see the file, we're going to use a function view. You paste it, and it takes a what parameter request. All right, you You see, that's why I need to know simple Python. This is function. You now say return. Let's test this first by using http response, and you say hello world. Now we're going to go and import this. Click and import. Let's say from Django.http import http request, no, not request, response, rather http response. All right, http response. What? http. All right, so I misspelled it. Now I'm going back to my Django project and go to our refresh. We should have, let me see if it's still running. Our code broke. Okay, no wonder our code broke. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it again. Python manage.py run server. If all things work well, we should now we are having an error. http no module name student the URL. This is student. Okay, so we need to go back here to our URLs and say student.urls. Student.urls. So let's see. This is student. This is URLs. Include student.url. Okay. Let's no module name student. Let's fix this. Okay, let's call it again the Python server. Okay, so all right, so the reason why we had this error was that I was supposed to say student.url, so I did not put this S. So in our project folder, so as you're working with Django, you'll be having this error. That's why, because we use our debug. Let me show you why we are having, because we put debug to true. You will come to settings of Pi. Now we'll have debug. That's where we have debug to true. Language. There is where you look closely. There's where we have our debug. We use debug to true. All right. Okay. Maybe it's now our WSG. Now let's look at our ASG. Anyways, so it's not a thing of concern, but before the end of this video, I'm going to show you where we have this debug to is equals to true. That's why we are having these errors. Okay, it's returning error for us to check. Now, as you can see, we now have, let me zoom in. As you can see, we now have hello world, because we are using HTTP response here, okay, that to return this hello world. But in this course, we are not looking at using HTTP. We want to use render, want to use HTML template for the front end. So we need to create a template. For us to do that, you come here and create a folder and call it, you come here and create a new folder and call it templates please ensure that you is plural template and enter. So inside this template, I'm going to create a file. I'll call it home.html. Now I'm going to use boilerplate, HTML boilerplate, okay, to show you that we can also render. I'll call this Django tutorial. Now I'm going to call a simple h1, all right, and I'm going to say welcome to home page. All right, so we'll now come back to our views.py. Instead of using this HTTP, we are going to use return render that we already imported here. You say return render. It takes two parameters. Number one, request, which is the parameter we set here, and the second one you say comma, and you call in the folder name. You say home.html. all right, so if I go back to my browser and I refresh, we now have welcome to homepage because we're able to render it using HTML. All right, so this is how we can render. And the next thing we need to do before we start the views and the URLs function and create our model, we need to create a static folder. Now, as you can see, we created our template outside the root project and also outside the app. It's on its own. So what we need to do now, we go to our app, which is student, and right click and create a folder and call it static. Okay, and inside the static, we're going to call this a new file. We call it style.css. okay, it's going to hold all our CSS file, which we are going to be building very soon. All right, so we now have our static. Now the goal of this is for us to create student enrollment system where we can perform CRUD operation. CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. All right, so we want to create now we want to create a function, a program where we can add new students, we can update, delete, and also view their page. Okay, all right, so what we need to do now is we need to come to define our models. Like I said, model, we use ORM. ORM stands for Object Relational Mapper. It's a Python system of communicating with SQL, with database, instead of using hard coding HTML SQL syntax. We use Python for that. So you are going to your student app, your app, and go to models. You see that it already imported all the. That's why we had to create app, because it's going to automatically import all what we need. So you say create your models here. You're going to use a class-based model. Say class. You're going to give it a name of capital S student. You say models with small m dot model with capital M model. Okay, it's a function-based class. Okay, function. All right. So what the parameters, the tables we need to create. The first table we need is student name equals to models dot character fields. As you can see, once you do dot, Django automatically gives you the fields. We want to use character fields, and you're going to declare max length. The max length of, you can give it any name as 200. The next thing we need to do, we're going to say sex of the student. All these are all the tables. We say models dot, we're going to use character field as well, and we say max length of 20. We are going to declare another one. We say DOB for date of birth equals to models dot, we are going to use a date time field, date field. Okay, and we're going to date of birth, we don't need to pass any parameter. All right, so the next thing we need to do as well is to what do we need again? Okay, so what we need again for this is we need student class. student underscore class equals to models dot character fields dot char fields dot char fields, and we're going to use max length of 20, and we're going to have parent name equals to models dot char fields. We're going to give it a max length of 20. We're going to say parent phone equals to models dot, we're going to use integer field. All right, so we are not going to pass any parameter. Now after you're done, you're going to create a function df equals to str underscore self. So we are going to say self dot, let's have a student underscore name. So I did not spell this student well. Student. All right, so haven't done this, we have declared a class and the name of this database is called student, and this models is a kind of a function to call all this. Okay, these are just the table name, the columns, student name, student sex, student name, sex, date of birth, student class, parent name, parent phone number. Okay, so these are all the tables we are going to be using for this project. And this df this is a df underscore sc underscore self return. We look at our database. Okay, let me remove this so that I can show you what this helps us to do in future, what this helps us to do in our database. Now I haven't done this, we're going to say python manage.py make migrations. As you can see, it's migrating. If you come here to our app, you see migration 001 underscore init.py initial. And okay, so this is what we have here. Now I haven't done that, we need to save. We say python manage.py migrate. So we have been able to successfully created this model. Okay, now for us to be able to have an admin to see what is in our admin panel, I'm going to create a super user where we can have access to the back end to see everything, or to ask students from the back end. What we need to do now is to say python manage.py create super user. It's going to ask you for a name. Okay, I'm going to give it as George. It's going to ask you for email, admin@gmail.com, any email at all. Password, you can create your password 1 2 3 4 5 6 again. Django is saying this password is too short, it must contain at least 8 characters. But if you want to continue anywhere, I can just say yes, continue anyway. I don't want to create again. So we have been able to create our super user admin. So let's go ahead and check that up. Come here and say /admin, enter. Let's just wait. I hope it didn't break. All right, so you now go ahead and put in your details and your password, and you click on login. Now as you can see, we are at the back end of Django admin. Now as we can see, we don't have this table yet. We created a table, okay, this class, but it's not reflecting here. All right, so because we did not register this class, this student, this table in Django admin. So you come to your app where you have here admin, you click on it, you say admin.site.register. okay, you paste in your table. Now you need to import it. Click on here, import. So say from student.modules import student. Okay, so you're going to save it. That is all we need to do. If I come back here and refresh it, you now see that our Django, our database table has now popped out. Okay, you can click on it to add student. Okay, you can click on it now to add. You say add student. I want to show you something. Student name, let's say Okonamet George. Sex, I'm a male. Date of birth, let me use let's say I was born on the 3rd of June 2025. Class, let's say JS3. Parent name, I say George Bill. My parent phone number, I can give any random number, and I click on save. Now if you look at here, it's showing us as student object 1. For us to have maybe a name or a phone number or any parameter you want to see here, you come back to your class. That was why we had to do this define function underscore str underscore self, and want to say, okay, want to display self dot, I want to have this student name. Okay, and I'm going to save. Let's go back to our back end and refresh. You now have here, is now showing, instead of showing object 1, we now have our name. That was why we had to do this. Okay, this decorator. All right, so we are doing very well. Okay, so the next thing now we need to do, let me close this, is for us now to start creating our views. Okay, want to display that student information we created here. So for us to do that, we need to have, in our HTML here, we need to have a table that contains all this. So luckily I was able to create a table for that, all the tables that I needed for this project. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to import to bring in my own table. Okay, all right, so I'm going to pause this video to import to bring in my template. All right, so I've been able to import my template. Okay, as you can see, we have home.html. So if I come here, back here, and I refresh, it's still working. I say, okay, I come to my home. Now we are going to have this student enrollment, name, sex, class, action, view. Why is our static folder not working? Let's see our static folder. Okay, we have not linked these static folders. Okay, so it's not going to work. For us to link our static folder, we come to this home. We're going to do this for all of this. Instead of using this, there's a syntax for us to link our static folder. Instead of using this one here, what we need to do is we use curly braces. That is what we call Django tags. You use curly braces and do double percentage. On the inside you say static, and you now come here and paste this style.css, and before that you come here and say load static. Don't worry, don't cry, just understand. You can also look at this documentation, Django documentation. You look at Django tags. Whatever thing you don't understand, go to Google or you go to Django documentation. So let's go ahead and refresh this. Okay, all right, so we are still going to do something. It's not loading, it's still not loading. So we need to copy this line. and paste it to all of our, okay, and paste it there, and also come to detail and we paste everything as well. Okay, so let's check if, okay, why is it not working? Low static sheriff static style.css. Supposed to work. Okay, let's go to update and do same for update. Alright, fine. Why is it not? Okay, let me just pause this video and check. Alright, so let's continue. So I'm trying to see why we are having that error, but I can't find it. So but as we walk along, we can still use this to work. Alright, so for now this is what we are having, student enrollment. But if I open it in my other project, it's looking better, but we're going to fix this very soon. So we have a table of student enrollment. We have name, sex, class, and action. So I remember if I go to my back end here, my admin panel, I have one student here, all right, by name Josh. So let me go ahead and add another student. Let's say Favor Okon, and sex is female. All right, date of birth, let's say she was born 2024 September 15th, and she's in SS2. Her father's name is Benjamin Okon, and his phone number is this, and we add. Okay, so we now have two students, Favor Okon and Josh Okunamachi. All right, so we want to see this information from the back end, from the front end. We are going to remove this John Doe, mail, JSS2 view, and the rest. So what we need to do now is we need to go to our view. All right, we need to go to our view. This is our view, to our home page. We are going to say student variable equals to student class name, that model we had, dot, say object, dot objects dot all. Now you're going to import this from from students or models, import students. Now we're going to pass this into a context. Context equals to a dictionary. Okay, we have a key and we call it student, and we also have a value, we call it student. Now you're going to pass in what happens, student. You're going to pass in the context here. You see comma context. Why is it showing this? Why is it? Let's copy, paste. All right, so now if I come here, nothing happens, so we need to go to our home. All right, this is our home and we are going to stop this. What I hate this stuff. All right, so we are going to come here. We have name, sex, class, action, which has to do with view, update, and delete. So we need to come here and say, and look through and say, please take note, you say for S in student, this student here, this student that holds a variable that holds this our object. So we are going to say for S or you can say for I or for anything for S in student. We are going to come down here as well, here, and say you, for whatever you do, you are going to earn it. You say N4. Then we are going to call this, instead of using hard coding this, we are going to say, you open double curly braces and you say S dot, what's our function? Let's go back to, let's open our function. Let's go back to student, open our models. We're going to say, okay, student name. You're going to say dot student name. All right, so then here we're going to say double curly braces. You say S dot sex, and for class we're going to say curly braces, double curly braces, S dot, what did we have here? So everything has to go in line with this. Is student class. Okay, student class. You're going to save it. If I come here and refresh, it's not rendering. Okay, why is it not rendering? For S in student. All right, so sorry, it's supposed to be double curly braces here, and if I come back and refresh, it's not rendering. For S in student, S the student name, S the sex, S the student class. It's supposed to render. Why is it not? Okay, let's put a comma here. Why is it not rendering? Name sex class, name sex class. Let's look at our view again. Student student.object.all, context student. Okay, and context. Why is it not rendering? Let me check. Something is wrong. All right, so sorry, I made a mistake. No, you need to understand that whatever the typo, I was having typo issue, so I did not render the right words. Okay, there was a mistake in my rendering. So what we did was, I said for S in student, this variable that holds this our table here, this object, you say okay, you're going to render all the student name, sex, and student class. Okay, now if you come here, you refresh, you see that we have Okunamat George, sex male, class 3. Now we also have favor cone. So if we come back to our back end, and we are going to see same students, okay, favor cone and Okunamat. So it therefore means that we're able to render our the information from database to our front end, but it's not looking beautiful. Okay, so before the end of this course, we're going to make it to display it in a nice table form. I don't know why it's not rendering, but I'm going to restart this project later on so that this information can display in a nice table. Okay, but just bear in mind that we have been able to render our information from database to this our front end. All right, so we have done with the aspect of read okay, we're able to read information. So now the next thing we need to do now is how to add information. All right, so to add information, so we are going to our URLs here, and we do and say path. We are going to say add, or we are going to say create, and you do slash. Now outside here, we're going to say views dot create, and we're going to say name equals to create, All right, so we put our comma. So when user clicks on a button, let's check. It seems our code broke. Okay, our code broke. All right, because we are still working. Now, when user click on that create button, we should be able to add information. So we're going to carry this create and come to function and come here and say another function and say request. Take a parameter request and you return render. Take two parameter request, and we are going to look at, we have a template here known as add_student.html. say add_student.html. all right, so we are done with that. So refresh. If I come here to say slash create you should see that we have a nice but why is it not rendering? This one is rendering. Okay, you can see that this form here is rendering. Okay, maybe I should rename, let me check. Okay, maybe I should rename this style to, maybe I should go ahead and rename this styles to like styles. All right, to styles. Let's see, and let's go to this home and add styles here. Let me see, let me come back to home. Okay, all right, so as you can see, it's looking nice. So maybe let me do it for all of this. Okay, let me go to add and just add this S and save it. All right, so let me come to update and also add this S and save it. All right, so as you can see, because we're having typo error, so now if I come back to my create, we now have a form that we can now add student full name, sex, date of birth, class, parent name, parent phone number. All this must be in line with your models. Okay, student name, sex, date of birth, student class, parent name, and parent phone number. So all these columns must be the same with what you have here. So let's go back to our home. Now you can see that these forms are looking very beautiful. Wow. All right, so it was just because of I didn't add s in our style.css. all right, so this is now rendering very well. So the next thing we need to do, like I said, we are going to add we are going to create. Now we have been able to read information from our database. We want to be able to create, so I need to add a button somewhere here that whenever I click on it to add, it should give us it should add. Okay, let me come to, let me see, after student enrollment, after this I should anchor tag and I should say add student. All right, so if we refresh, we now have a button here, add student. Okay, so when I click on here, it should take me to this my create, this my form, so that I can add new student. Okay, that is what we want to do now. So this is what we call create operation, to create, read, and delete, and also update. All right, so but I'm going to add a bit style here. Can add style. I'll say margin bottom, let's say 20px 0. Save. So if I come here and refresh, it's not adding 20. Let's see. Let me just move it here. Let me just add a class. of art. Now let me take it here. Let me take it to my static file. Okay, these are my HTML files. So if you have not taken you can check this channel. You see I have HTML and CSS tutorials that you can look at and also start building your HTML and CSS code. I'll use 20px and 0. Let's see if it adds. Sometimes it's difficult for you to add. I don't know, I just experienced this lately, but I know if I should work on it, it's going to add here. So but let's continue. All right, so if I click on that button, it should take us to the art student. Okay, how do we do that? We're gonna say if request dot methods is equals to post. All right, so you're going to declare all these fields, all right, as it is here. We are going to, where is that art student? Okay, so all these fields that we have here, the first one we need to do is student name. Okay, let's say student underscore name equals to request dot post and you give it a name. Now if you look at your HTML, what's the name here? Name is what? Name. All right, so you're going to paste it here, name. Let's duplicate this, 1 2 3 4. Now the next thing we need to is let's open our model so that we work in line with our model. Okay, so the next thing is sex. You can just copy it to avoid typo error. You can just come and say sex equals to, where is that all right, so the next thing, sex, the name here is sex as well. You copy that and paste here. The next one from a model, where's my model, is DOB, and you come here and say DOB, and you come here, what's the name for date of birth for this DOB? The name is DOB as well. You paste it here. The next one we have here is student class. All right, so student class, and what do we have here? Name is class. All right, so the last we have we still need parent name. What do we have here in this parent name? Is parent underscore name. Please just be careful here. Everything you are doing here should refer to your model. Now the reason why I'm referring to my model is that all these fields here that you are rendering here must be the same, the spelling, everything with your model. Then what you're passing in here in this this list must be what you give it as a name here in your HTML, your template. Now parent phone number, the next one we have is parent phone number. Your, what do we have here? Parent phone. All right, so okay, so we are done with that. Now we are going to create a new object. Now say new underscore student equals to student, which is our table, our model here, student. All right, student dot create. We are creating student name equals to this. Let me collapse this. We do comma. Sex equals to sex. Collapse it. DOB equals to DOB, comma. Student class equals to student class, comma. Student name equals to student name, comma. Parent name equals to parent name, and finally parent phone equals to parent phone. All right, so parent phone. Now after that, we're going to do now is you come here and say new object. You must new student dot save. You must save it, then return redirect. That was why we had to import that redirect here. Okay, redirect to where we're going to redirect to at the name we gave here is what? Create. That's why we had to put a name here. Redirect to create. Otherwise, you return it here. All right. So that is what. So we are now going to copy this create as a name rather than let's copy this create name, and let's go to our home and come to that our where we had this add button. We're going to say let's use HTML and say URL. This has to reference URL for. Okay, you place your create. So that is how we are able to do that. So if you refresh, let's look at our something. It's a key error argument. Repeated student name. All right, so let's see. We repeated students. Okay, let's see. We repeated student's name. Okay, repeated student's name. All right, so we're going to remove that. Okay, so let's check everything is working now. All right, so if we come back to this add, have you seen that button have taken us back to here, and whatever we do here now and submit is going to render it back to our home page. It's going to render it back to this table. All right, so we just have one thing to do. All right, so our table is working now. So what we need to do now is to go to our form, not here. All right, not the home. We are going to this our add student. Okay, now there is a form here we need to work on. Now if you look at here, we have where is it? Let's go up. All right, so we need also to come here and render. Let me change this to HTML and render this URL. Okay, and say this double percentage. This is how you reference or you link to create. Okay, now once after here this form down, you do your curly braces and double percentage, and you're going to say CSRF underscore token. This is cross-site forgery token. If you don't put this, your form will not be submitted, and your form action must carry this create button, this your model, this view name. Okay, and the URL must carry that, and method must be post, because we are saying that if request.method equals to post, all this should render. Okay, so after doing everything, once we redirect, okay, we are going to redirect to home, not to create. Okay, so that when we send the data, it should come back to home. All right, so now after doing that, I think we are now good to go. We have rendered this. Okay, everything is looking fine. Let's go ahead and test our project. Let's refresh. Let's come here. First full name Sebasi Effiong. Sex, let's say male. Date of birth, let's use 2020 June 10. Class, let's say JS3. Parent name Sebasi Ime. Parent phone number 0814725. Alright, so let's go ahead and submit. Let's see what happened. Okay, student has no attribute create. Okay, because we use student equals to student dot create. Okay, has no attribute create. Okay, let's check our view. Student. Okay, sorry, student dot object, no capital letter, object dot create. Okay, student dot object dot create. Object student dot object dot create. So this error should go away. All right, so we have successfully created our new student, as you can see, Basi Effiong. So let's go to our database and see if this student is also there. Let's open. You can see we have Basi Effiong. Initially we added from the back end Okunama George and Favor Okun, but we added from the front end Basi Effiong. So this is looking nice. We have been able to create, to read, and we have been able to create. So now the next we need to do now is to create a delete function. Let's test this again. Let's go ahead and click on add the next name, say Victoria George, sex female, date of birth, let's say 2004 February 4th, and class she's SS3. Parent name, let's say George Ubang, and phone number 070482553 and the rest, and you click on submit. So as you can see, we've added Victoria George Basi Effiong from the front end. This view, update, delete, these forms, these buttons are not functional for now, so but we are going to add the functionality very soon. So let's go ahead and look at how to delete. All right, so we go back to we are done with this art, we are done with our model. Let's go back here to our URL. So every view you create, you must first of all create the URL. So to delete, we say path, and we say delete / views dot delete, and the name equals to, let's just say delete underscore page. Name equals to, let's call it delete. All right, so that is that. We're going to carry this delete page, come to view and define a function, paste it, and you're going to say request, and it's going to carry 2 parameters. All right, for delete it's going to carry 2 parameters. So here we are going to reference an integer ID. You say int, you say ID. All right, because you are not deleting the whole, you're deleting a single item or a single student, and you pass in the parameter here as well, and you return render. Okay, no, we are not even passing render. What we are going to do is we redirect to where to home. All right, so the function here is going to be let's say student equals to get underscore or underscore object underscore or underscore 404. We're going to pass in the student class, then you say pk equals to the ID that you pass. We're going to import this. All right, so this get object or underscore 404, it helps to handle any error. Now to delete, say student, we call this, let me just copy this so that I'll not avoid typo, dot delete. Okay, that is all you need to do. Dot delete, that is all you need to do, and return to home. So we're going to copy this this name delete and come to our, where did we have this, our template, our home template. Okay, where we have this delete. So we are going to go to delete site and we reference changes to HTML and we reference double percentage and say URL, and you paste in this delete. Okay, now and paste this. What happened? Okay, so I'm pasting this delete inside of here. All right, so now this delete, oh shit, okay, so let me paste delete, and you now say, come and say pk s.id. So because if you don't pass this s.id, it's not going to work. Okay, let's go ahead and refresh this. Now I want to delete this one. Let's check if it's working. If I click, as you can see, we've been able to delete this Victoria. Let's also delete this Okunamet. We've been able to delete. So our create, read and delete is working. Now let's create this view. You know, if you look at this name sex class class, is not a full detail of these students. Okay, so once you click on this view, it should take us to a more detailed page to view other information like the parent name, parent phone number, the date of birth of that student. So for us to do that, we still need to go back to our URLs and also create a path and call this detail, and it's going to carry the same parameter because we need a single child integer, and we'll say ID, and we're going to pass and say views dot detail underscore page and name equals to detail. All right, so this is the view, this is the URL part of it. So if you click on here, it should take us to our view. All right, so we are going to take this as well and go to our views.py, and we are going to say and define a function as well and paste this. All right, you say request, you pass in the ID as well, and you return render. We're going to, if you look at here, we have a detail.html page. Okay, we're going to return. Why is it giving me error? Okay, sorry, I'm not supposed to put this detail view and return render. I pass in a request parameter and then go to detail.html. all right, so what we need to do now is, if I click on, I'll copy this same thing. Okay, I'll paste it here. All right, so once I click on here, I'm going to say context equals to, equals to, I'll copy this, say student, the key and the value is also student, and I'll come here and I'll pass this context. Okay, so all right, so that is what we need to do. Now I'm going to copy this detail page to this home, and I'm going to put it in this view. I'm going to reference this view. All right, so double percentage URL, and you're pasting what is happening, and you're pasting what's happening. Detail, and we're now pasting it here, and you now come here as well and say s.id. all right, so if I go ahead and click on view, it should take me to this detail page, as you can see. So let's go ahead and look at the detail page, because I know this thing is not rendering detail page. I did not add this s here. So now if I come back and refresh, you can see we have here student information, we have name, sex, the date of birth, class, and the rest. So but it's not what we referenced. Now let's go ahead to our detail page and work on it. Okay, so where's our detail page? So we need to remove this other, we're gonna say detail student. Okay, we're going to say for, we're going to come here as well, change to HTML and say for. Okay, we don't need to do for, we just need to reference this. All right, just have to say double curly braces, say this dot student underscore name, this dot sex, student dot dob, student dot student underscore class, let's go back to our model. Student class parent name. All right, so we say this dot parent name, and here we do dot parent phone. So we don't actually need this action here. All right, or we can leave it, but we just need to render this to go back home. Just remove it from here. Just say URL for to go back to home. All right, so I don't need all of this anymore. Okay, so if I come back here and refresh, as you can see, we only have this, so I need just to say I say back. All right, so as you can see, if I click on here back, it brings us back here. If I want to see this Basi Effiong, if I click on view, I'll be able to see the name, the sex, the date of birth, the class, parent name, parent phone number, and if I'm done, I just click on back. Okay, I can also go ahead and add another. Then I need to add a button here to go to cancel. So I need to go to, I'm done with detail page. I'll come back to my home page, and no, not home, to add student. I'll come down here and I'm going to say I'm going to put a button and I'm going to say URL for home, and I'll put it here as cancel. All right, so that is done. If I come here and refresh, I can have it here, cancel. It takes me back home. If I come to add, I can now add another, and if I want to submit or I cancel, I can view, I can go back, and I can also do what? Let me see something. Okay, so it's looking good. I can delete this and we'll just have one. All right, if I go back to my database, my back end, and I checked on students, I'm having just one student. So this to show you that our app is working effectively. So the last thing we need to do now is to update. We have been able to create, to read, to delete, to view. Now it's left for us to, once we click on this update button, it should take us to, it should update information. So to do that, the last thing we need to do now is to come here and we create a path, and we call it update, and it's going to carry also a update is going to carry a parameter as well, because we want to update a particular client. We say int and we call it id. We're going to say comma views dot update, then name equals to update. All right, this is the last URL. So I'm going to copy this update, come to my view. I'm going to define a function, and I'm going to carry two parameter request. All right, so it's not going to carry update, it's not going to carry this, it's not going to carry this. Okay, so we now say return render, which is going to carry two parameter request, and we have here update.html. So we're going to work with that, update.html. Then we're going to copy the same thing we have here from create, copy here, all right, down here. All right, so we're going to come down here, and what we need to do now, we say student equals to get this. Now we say student comma pk equals to id. Now we're going to go ahead and paste this, and we're going to say okay, let's look at what I'm doing. All right, so I want to get the ID, particular ID of that particular client. Then I have to say if requires or methods code post. I want to get everything about that client, the student name, the sex, date of birth, student class, parent name, parent phone number. So I'm going to declare this variable, say student name equals to. So now after doing this, I'm going to come here and say student dot save. I'm going to redirect this person back to home page, then else come back here. All right, so that is all what we need to do for this update. Now we'll come back to update here. Now what we need to do here is just to go ahead and add where we have this name. You go ahead and add value equals to double curly braces, and you're going to call this update function, see update dot name. So I'm going to copy this and place it all over where we have where we have here. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to also paste it here, and I'm going to also paste it here. Where's parent name? Okay, so now what I need to do now is I'm going to also reference this URL for update. All right, for update. Okay, so I'm going to also add this. Sorry, we are going to add this ID here. Okay, we're going to add that ID here, and also we're going to add that ID here as well. So that we need to get that done. So here we're going to copy this and come here, and where is that form? Our form. All right, so here we're going to say paste the student dot ID. All right, so now we in this form we're going to render our CSRF underscore token so that we can be able to submit this form. Why we had to do this value so that we can get the value of this. So this is where is sex. Okay, so for sex I'm going to add that value here. Okay, for sex I'm going to copy this value, I'm going to paste it here as well. Okay, all right, so though for sex we don't require this, sex can leave it for now. So this is name, the next one is VOB, and the next one is what's the name, class. The next one here is parent underscore name, and the next one is parent underscore phone. Okay, so let's go ahead and check this out. If I click on update, I need to go to home. Okay, so this, where is that update? Okay, I need to render this view, which is, or I can call this update here. No, here, call it here update. Okay, so for this update, I'm going to carry s.id. All right, which is the ID, particular ID. All right, so I'm going to refresh. If I view is working, update, reverse for update, argument not found, one pattern update. So URL for student.id. Why are we having that student.id? So we are having this one, we are having issue. Student.id. We're gonna copy and paste it. Let's see what happens. Okay. Let's troubleshoot. Let's look at our view. All right, so I did not pass student here. Okay, I can say comma and I pass in this. Okay, copy this, and the key as well is this. So let's go back and refresh. Okay, so we have gotten that. So let me put go to this update and also put anchor tag here that will carry or take us back to home URL, and I say home to take us back, and I'll say cancel if you don't want to update again. All right, so I refresh, I click on here, so view is working, update, but this update is not working. I need to render the full name, the date, the sex, and every other gotten from this form here. So why is this thing not rendering? Let's go ahead and troubleshoot. So this is what you get when you're working with Django. All right, so update.name, this is the name. Okay, dot name. Why is it not rendering? Date of birth, update.db, getting from here. Okay, let me just get this. Let's just work with this. Let's just troubleshoot. Let's troubleshoot. Let's troubleshoot. Okay, so maybe we need to use student. Okay, sorry, we use student. Supposed to be student dot not supposed to be this student. Okay, student not update. It's supposed to be student. Student dot class, students dot date of birth, students dot name. Let's check. Let's put it. Let's save and let's refresh back. Okay, so where's our model? So student or student name. Let's see where we have name. So this is what you need to do to troubleshoot student or student name. Okay, sex, student. Okay, let's forget about sex. DOB, student class, student dot student class. All right, so parent name, so student dot parent name. All right, everything should come from this model, and parent phone number. All right, so this should work now. All right, so what we did was that, our model, if we look at our view function, what we use to declare this is we are not using this template variable. Rather, we are using this our view variable. So we need to pass in this function, this variable to get this ID, and not the view function itself, but the variable that holds this student information. Then we now pass in all this our model name as it is here. So we got to say value student.dob as it is here in our model, okay, and also in our view here as well. Now we also look at how to say student class as it is in our view, not what is in our template here. So after this, we are able to edit. Okay, let's cancel and let's go again. Update. I can change this Okon to Basi, and I can change the sex from the sex is still female. I can leave the date of birth. I can change to SS1. I can just go ahead and submit this form. Okay, so the date of birth needs to be why didn't the date of birth pop out? I can choose 2020 June 10 and I submit it. As you can see, we have changed it to SS1, favor Basis of Basukun. We can view, and here we are, and we can update as well, and we can cancel, and we can